Hello and welcome everybody. Today we have Kelly Lake who's going to share some great information with you. But before we get started, I wanted to draw everyone's attention to the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. Up at the top, there's a little 3-bar icon with a survey that you can take if you'd like Kelly to follow up with some information after her session. All right, Kelly, over to you.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Vibe product demo. Very excited to be with everybody today. Actually, this is our third session from KnowledgeWorks Global. I am very excited to share with you a little bit more about Vibe. You've probably heard this on some previous sessions of mine, so let's go ahead and get started. Those of you that are joining and hearing me for the first time, I am Kelly Lake. I am the Global Head of Learning for KnowledgeWorks Global Learning. I've been in the industry for quite a long time, have worked with a lot of you. Very excited because I've got a chance to catch up with some folks I haven't had the opportunity and clients in a little while. So that being said, I want to give you just a little bit of insight before we jump into the demo about what Vibe is. So Vibe. KGL came up, we sat down and said, what can we do from a virtual perspective when it comes to onboarding employees? We've worked with our clients across the board to come up with an interactive and engaging platform and series of services that we can actually bridge that gap when we have this ongoing issue with how quickly can we get people on board, how quickly can we get them, skilled to produce and be productive in their roles. And the thought was, we have the capabilities of doing that. And one of the challenges that a lot of our clients in the industry is looking at is how can that be engaging? What are those core areas that you can really work with or work on to provide that engagement factor? So Vibe, which we named, it's our virtual induction blended experience. And what that actually means is it's a combination of different types of functionality, products, and services combined together to be able to provide a roadmap for organizations to be able to onboard employees very successfully. And the unique part about it is that it's not only providing a virtual roadmap for that onboarding, but it's also gamified elements. And we have a game that's included, which I will demo for you in just a little bit. Within that game itself, there's embedded videos, which makes it more interactive. It allows the user to feel that they're a part of what's going on instead of just being isolated. We have an AI chatbot, which helps through that process. A lot of the times, organizations are not able to get that feedback when they need the feedback as they're going through. HR, is doing their best to onboard people, and how quickly can we provide that support? Providing a virtual mentor as you go through that, and I'll show you just a little snippet of that, how that comes in, and also the AI. But being able to provide that support mechanism, that support as you go through that process from beginning to end. And the nice thing too about Vibe is it's scalable. And as you're just hearing a little bit about it, once we go through a little bit and you can actually see the demo, put those pieces together, because it can work independently or it can work as a standalone. Just to give you just a couple, benefits to expand upon what I'm saying, is that scalability can not only be to increase that capability for engagement, but also with those managers now being able to be engaged. And a lot of the managers that we've seen being some of those virtual mentors and having that responsibility to work with employees. Not only does this work as an onboarding tool, but also think about how you can move forward with this and use this for ongoing learning. So that scalability is so very much important. And then being able to utilize this functionality moving forward, not just from the first aspect of onboarding an employee, but that continuation. I think that's very important. You're providing employees with accessibility. A lot of the times with onboarding, you're not able to provide access ahead of time, whether it's an LMS and you're waiting for, the login information to have the employee data transferred to that. This can be set up ahead of time, and then the information can be imported as you process moving forward progress. And also, one other thing I think that's very important about why we came up with this is not only understanding what can be done from a virtual perspective, but how does that work in a collaborative environment? So now not only are you welcome employees into an organization where they're excited to be there, but they're also very excited because it's engaging to be able to believe in what this company can offer them as they start to move forward. So that collaboration, that interactive experience, and I had mentioned that there are videos a part of the game, and you're able to interact with those videos. And I'll show you a little bit how we came up with this concept. And then also, as we go through that, the feedback is vitally important. So being able to provide that virtual mentor, and then also there's support tools that go around it as well, that provides you the availability to not only have a digitalization approach as part of your strategy, but also how that lays out an employee path as a learning path as they go forward. Okay. So before we jump into the portal, what I want to show you is get just a little bit of background on the game and a couple other components. So when you're looking at it, it actually, resonates with you. So this is a homepage of one of employee portals that we created for today's demo. Seeing how we have 20 minutes, I will focus on 3 components of it. It will be the game, a little bit of the what we call MediaBot, because this particular company is called MediaBest, which is the AI chatbot. And then also the virtual mentor, just a little snapshot of that. So if you're interested in hearing more or learning more, please reach out. I do have my director of instructional strategy, Radhika, who's actually on the chat as we're going through. So if you're having questions, please, submit them. We'll talk about it. If we don't get to answer everything, we will follow up with you and provide it, and also give you a demo link too. So please, take advantage of that, as Jenny had said in the very beginning. Okay, so just a little bit more information. So the center of our particular vibe is around gamification. So if you take a look at the screenshot, and you'll see on the top left side of it that we had set up 6 different locations for an organization. So if an employee is coming in, visually giving them the landscape that they can navigate through and feel associated to those different components. So we laid this out. This particular client had 6 areas that they wanted to focus on. And these videos, as you can see, little snapshots of the videos surrounding the homepage, really drill down specifically into those core areas for orientation, company background, benefits, safety issues, diversity, engagement. There's a lot of different areas that you can go through. This particular game enables you, depending if you have, 6 locations, how you want to do it. It can be smaller. It's timed. It's 15 minutes as you go in for this particular layout, and it allows the learner to go through, watch the video, answer a question about it, or revisit the video if they're not too sure that they were able to absorb that information as they were looking at it, and progress through. This particular demo that we're looking at today, and as I show you, we've embedded interactive questions in the very beginning to make it engaging. So as an employee comes in, they'll be able to see that, and they'll be able to move forward and be engaged. Other options with this as well is that, if you're missing areas and you're not answering the questions, you'll be able to have that functionality where you could go back and answer those questions and revisit it. So this becomes a learning tool that you can go back to with the employee information and the company information as you start to take a look at that. And we'll go through this in just a few seconds. Just wanted to show you just a quick information on the AI chatbot. This particular chatbot, we developed, specifically within this particular demo to showcase how that information can be gathered, and that quick interaction between an employee and having that accessibility to that quick answers. And then also on the back end of it as well, having that robust AI functionality that allows that deeper analysis of the questions that are asked, and being able to pull that back into an employee profile or improving the process as you go. And also we have a virtual mentor aspect, and mentors come in all shapes and forms. But we do have a quick recording, and the functionality is when you're able to go in, getting introduced to your mentor, being able to communicate with your mentor through multiple channels, but having that one-on-one with them as they grow. And they'll also be able to provide not only their role, but based upon performance goals that you may be able to reach. So without further ado, what I will now do, and Zoom, if Zoom works well with us here, I'm going to go ahead and click over to our demo to showcase what that would look like for you. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to pop out of this real quickly, and hopefully share this with you as well. So Jen, you can let me know if we're able to see this. If not, I will reshare one more time. Okay. Okay. So if everybody's able to see this, and again, Jenny, please confirm that we're doing this. But
yes, looks great.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We've had some conversations about Zoom, and the Guild has been fabulous about connectivity and working with us, so I appreciate that. So with this particular demo, what I want to do is walk through those core areas with you so you can actually see firsthand what that looks like. Again, this is an integrated employee homepage, and these can be configured in many different ways, whether it's working with your intranet, it's working with your LMS, it's working with any kind of system that you're using, experiential system, whatever it might be, your platform. We create this to actually work and blend with those different technologies to ensure that there's connectivity, and we also work with you on the analytics part of it. So wanted just to kick this off real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and open up Vibe. So as I had mentioned, Vibe, this particular has 6 different locations within the office. It gives you, we've timed this to be about 15 minutes, so it's comfortable for the employees to go through that process successfully. We've built in help functionality, so you're able to reach out if you need additional information. There's voiceover information too, if you need help.
Welcome to the Vibe. Make your way to the office by step.
And that, as we go through, you'll see the interactivity. I'm going to start the game and just show you step by step the benefits and the takeaway, hopefully, that you can utilize as you're going back and thinking about how can we increase our offering, how can we increase our engagement. So the way, again, we designed this was to be a little bit more interactive and engaging learners in tasks in the beginning, asking them an interactive question, giving them a clue, for this particular question, what is that object that we're using? So it gives them a little sense of, I'm actually a part of this and I'm contributing to this. So let me go ahead and show you a little bit of some of the videos. You'll see up here that there are 6 badges that, as you're answering the questions correctly, you'll get a green aspect of it or red, depending on where you are. Your timer is going. If you have any questions whatsoever, the user is able to go through and navigate successfully and be able to reach out if they needed additional help too. So let me go ahead and show you a little bit of this. So what I'll do here is just show you some of the functionality. So again, these are 6 videos with different areas. It gives you an opportunity, the game, once you've completed this, the user can then go in and select a question, answer to the question. They can actually replay the video as well. So that's reinforced, support from them. And once they submit the question, they find out if they're correct or not, and they can advance through the game. And again, we're being timed as we go through this, a little bit more from hotspots, enabling us to have some fun, whether the questions, this particular one is, identify an object that, does not open locks. So it has keys. So basically we're going to work on a keyboard. Now for this particular area, I want to point out a couple different things. Company structure, and I'm going to move ahead just a little bit more. This talks about the different leadership. So you can see a little bit why these videos have been set up successfully. Some of our clients have asked, can we do shorter videos? Can we do more videos? And absolutely, it's that interactivity, depending on what your requirements are for your, specifically your specific onboarding, is to ensure that we're capturing what that looks like. We just actually worked with, in the process of working with a local financial institution that will utilize a part of this on a smaller scale. So I'm going to go ahead and read the question and make sure that I'm going to actually capture this right. Who's in charge of learning management system? We're going to go with the Chief Learning Officer. Again, I can review this and move forward to the next one. So when we look at how to engage employees, how amazing a game can be at that particular point in time, it gives us the opportunities to be a part of this, right? So whether it's company benefits, I'm going to move through that. Or it may be company safety, however you want to build out your particular onboarding. It gives you a chance to, really leverage that. I've had questions on how long should these videos be. Most of these videos are less than a minute. Some of them are a little bit longer, depending on specifically what we're trying to accomplish here. So again, think about the interactivity, think about your users, think about what that's going to look like and how quickly we can, be able to deliver this in a gamified way. And I'm just going to move through this really quickly just to make sure that we have enough time, okay? Because I know that there will be some questions. And again, finally, if you think about how engaging this can be from a question and perspective, I'm going to go ahead and submit this, give you a chance to take a look at the functionality. And when we're done, you can see how a learner progresses through those 4 different areas. Now, if I answered the questions incomplete or I was wrong, red check marks will come up, and we could configure this very nicely. So you go back and revisit it. It gives you a chance to actually experiment as you go through. It becomes a ongoing tool for you, continuous learning. It can be augmented, as I said in the very beginning, to use this for other aspects of training as well. I think that's very important from a learning perspective as you're starting to go through that. And the timing can be adjusted as well, depending on if you're looking at more interactive videos, if you're looking at a little bit more dynamic questions. There's additional functionality that we can actually implement within this particular Vibe. So Vibe is very exciting. And again, the opportunity to share this with you, if indeed you want to see a little bit more, let us know. We can set up a particular demo for you. We can walk through this and explain how this fits into your whole entire approach to onboarding. And give you just a little bit more understanding. Now, a couple different areas here as well. We do have a chatbot functionality in this where, from the screenshot, you can see that, as well as just asking basic questions, like, for example, who's the leadership team? I want to know, who do I reach out to? What can I respond to at the particular point in time? What happened if I have HR questions? Who's my point of contact? Again, being able to have a responsiveness that quickly and providing that as I go along. And again, that gets embedded into the portal. So we're able to provide just a little bit more information, make it engaging, support, step 1, understanding where you are, what your roles are, because that's very important. A lot of employees are onboarded and they don't particularly know specifically what the roles are or how they fit into an organization. And I think that's very important as they start to go through Vibe and work with that game, be able to have that media bot from this particular thing, or the chat bot, because we are in Media Best, give the feedback that they need. Who do they reach out to? And oh, by the way, I'm not alone, particularly on my particular path. We have virtual mentors. So just to give you an example of how that would look, and then also thinking about the different components with this. And there's performance support that goes hand in hand with the development of Vibe. Obviously, today we're not going to demo that for you, but if you think about what a path looks like, being able to put a learning journey in place across the board for these different employees as they start their process as well. So again, very short demo today, very excited on where we are and what we've been able to bring to the market. Our clients have been very happy with this process. Again, depending on where you are and what aspect to your onboarding process. So I'm just going to pause here 1 second and take a look at some of the questions that are coming in right now. Okay. Is the content responsive for mobile users? And the answer to your question is yes, it definitely will be responsive, especially as you want to design this. A lot of times, depending on where you are as well, in this particular demo, obviously it's a little restricted, but having that virtual access, getting them on board as quickly as possible and utilizing their mobile phones as devices as well. A couple other components here within Vibe is to think about as you're applying your techniques and as you're starting to move forward, being able to not only work with that pre-onboarding process, but as that process persists, as you go through those different steps as you move forward. So it's going to depend on the content that you want to include. It's going to depend on the video that you want to include, on how interactive that's going to be. And I always take a step back and say, okay, specifically with your new employees that are coming on board, how many of them are, millennials or how many they in those different categories, because that's going to impact your learning capabilities as well. We're working with a client who has actually 5 generations and then moving to the 4th generation, scaling that down. But we have employees that, utilizing more of a mobile readiness than they've ever onboarded before. So that's definitely part of their strategy. And we're seeing that vibe from a content perspective, as well as a gamification, is being more readily used. And success rate has definitely been very positive. We've heard back from HR leaders that gives them a little bit more visibility in what they're doing, as opposed to, taking that step back, making sure that, all their folders and everything that's available to them on their learning management system, with all the content they have in there, that availability. So having that pre-onboarding experience has been very beneficial. Having that feedback come in too. So I think those are some core areas that we can share with you. And I will definitely, provide some more details, a little bit more technical. I see some technical questions that are coming up, and I'm actually being instant messenger and a couple of my other different devices with some questions that are coming through as well. And I think that's very important that they do that. And some of these questions that I'm receiving is more on the technical side of how, gamification, how we created it, what tools we were using, how we're able to leverage that interactivity. What does that look like when we're actually implementing that in with an intranet or with other technology within inside of an organization in of itself. So we can share that with you. I'd be more than happy to do that as we start to proceed a little bit more. Thank you, Redika, for definitely answering some questions on chat. I definitely want to follow up with all of you in regards to those next steps on what you're doing. I also see that there's a question that came through outside of our chat in regards to could this be developed for insurance engineering, specifically for inspectors onboarding training? And to answer that question, absolutely. This has been developed, and we've had many insurance companies that we've worked with that I've talked to over the years, specifically for those that have a remote workforce. Knowing it doesn't have to be laid out in an office perspective onboarding. It can be laid out from a client perspective. It can be laid out. One area that we had a discussion with prior was, I have my claim adjusters going on site looking at homes, and we're not able quite sure to get them onboarded to see an example. So can we utilize specific locations from a training perspective to onboard them successfully so they can see those different types of claims? So absolutely, that works very well. And any scenario that you can basically think of, we can work with that. And I would be more than happy for those of you that are interested to set up, let's talk about it. Let's do a prototype of it. We've also seen this not only from an insurance perspective, we've also seen this from manufacturing, how it can adopt. And then also from more of a medical healthcare, we'll say that being able to onboard individuals through different locations and being able to create it from hospital to hospital, also being able to do it from, emergency room onboarding perspective, and just looking at that, how that could possibly work in different verticals. So great questions that we're receiving right now. And I'm just going to check one more time.
I think we're just about out of time, Kelly.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank you for a great presentation and remind everyone, if you'd like more information or you want to follow up with Kelly, please go in and select yes on that poll, and you can get your questions answered and get some more information from Kelly. Thanks again, Kelly. Great presentation.
Thank you very much.